chums! I'm back here at Universal Studios Orlando. I was just here on Wednesday for the pass holder preview. Today I have Adam with me.
Yeah, this time I could actually come along. I was stuck working on Wednesday, but we're here. I mean, now that we live in Orlando, we're able to just kind of roll out of bed and come to the park, and I love that. This is great. It's such an easy ride.
Yeah, 25 minutes versus 2.5 to 3 hours.
Right.
Definitely awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So when I was here the other day, it was, it was a soft opening. Universal had been closed for months because of what was going on with the pandemic. They are open, and now they're running regular, but they are still at limited capacity. And what we're going to see today is how many things have changed since I was here on Wednesday. When you go to the parking lot, there's still social distancing with the way that you're parking the cars. You still have to go through the garage and get your temperature checked before you can even enter into the park. The masks are still required. When I was here on Wednesday, if you did manage to catch that video, and we'll put a link below so you can compare what's going on now compared to what it was like during the soft opening for the pass holders. When I came here on Wednesday, I did have a difficult time booking some of the rides with the virtual queue that's been implemented, so we're going to see how that goes today.
Well, I've already been kind of looking on the app, and it looks like we may run into some of that same stuff, but we were able to already book Jimmy Fallon's, the Jimmy Fallon ride for a party of 2. The other things, I mean, Hagrid's right now is closed. I looked at Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. It's closed. It's not even running.
I hope that we get to ride that today, because that was one of the rides that I was struggling to book when I was here on Wednesday, and I really would like to ride it again. I've only rode it once since it's been open. And yeah, so we're gonna see how things go. We're gonna see if there's more restaurants open. On Wednesday, City Walk was open at 4 o'clock, and most of the restaurants were still not operating. So we're gonna go and we're gonna start our day over at Universal Studios before we go to Islands of Adventure. We're gonna see what we could do in there. And if you're new to our channel, please go ahead and give our video a like and just subscribe. Help us grow. And you ready to get going?
Absolutely.
It's Adam's first time back.
I haven't been on a roller coaster in 4 months, and I'm having withdrawals. So it's time to go do this. Fortunately,
I did get to ride a couple things the other day.
I know, lucky.
All right, let's go ahead and get our day started.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so we're in Universal Studios, and surprisingly to me, the park is not busy at all. This could be because a lot of people still don't want to come because of the mask requirement and all the different changes that have taken place. It could also be because of the weather too. It doesn't look like it's going to be a nice day today.
No, I think they said it's going to rain about halfway through the day. We're looking at some thunderstorms, so we'll see what happens. But the mask thing, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me at all. Like if I have to wear a mask in order to ride some of my favorite rides, so be it. It's not a big deal for me. But to each their own.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me either. The other day I was here, I rode the Rocket and other roller coasters wearing the mask. What bothers me is having to stare at your phone all day to book something, to get on any of the rides.
Yeah.
Adam has been trying to book us some stuff to do today, and we're not having a lot of luck, which is kind of the same problem that I ran into when I was just here on Wednesday. What's going on with the app when you're trying to book?
I think it's a little better now. I mean, I know that I was trying to book Hagrid's before, and now it's actually closed, and then now it disappeared off of the app completely. So I think it's just down. I think the ride is down. They're not even giving you the option of riding it right now.
Am I ever going to get to ride that ride again?
I'm pretty sure we will, but I mean, honestly, that doesn't stray too far away from what the normal operation. Like, I mean, before any of the COVID-19 stuff happened and before we had these new restrictions, that was an extremely difficult ride to ride anyway. Anytime you'd show up to the park, that was the first thing that people started waiting in line for. People were lined up all the way down to, out of Islands of Adventure for the first, I think, 4 days. There was like a 7-hour wait for that ride. So the first 4 days it was open. So now, I guess I'm not super surprised that it's incredibly difficult to still ride that ride. But now we're looking at like a 10-minute wait for the Rip Ride Rocket, 15 minutes for the Incredible Hulk, 5 minutes for Dr. Doom's Fearfall, 10 minutes for the Mummy, I mean,
if
that's
it
not
stays
bad.
like that.
That's not bad. That's perfectly acceptable. That's shorter than normal wait times, if you ask me.
But one thing I do want to mention, I know that some people had questions about how they were social distancing with the rides. When I was here on Wednesday, they were putting people, you were staying with your party. There's no single rider. I think that there won't be any single rider for a while until some of these restrictions lift. And what they were doing was they were separating parties by row. So if we were here with 4 people taking up the row of a ride, there would be nobody in the row behind us, and then the third row, or even the back row if there were 4 rows, then they would go ahead and they would stick another party in. So just so you know, that's how they're doing the social distancing with the rides. But all right, so we're gonna continue and see what we can get done. I think that we're able to get on the rocket right now, so we're gonna go ahead and do that.
This will be my first coaster in 4 months. I can't believe it. So excited.
So one little tip that I want to give you guys is to make sure that you bring your own hand sanitizer. They do not have hand sanitizer stations set up here. What they do is instead they have people who are giving you hand sanitizer before you get on the ride. But nobody gives you any hand sanitizer when you get off the ride. So make sure that you do bring your own hand sanitizer if that is something that you're concerned about, which would be understandable given the current situation. How was it to get back on a roller coaster with your face mask?
It's fine. The mask stayed put, just like I figured it would. I mean, all these people are saying, well, when you ride a coaster, the mask shouldn't fly off your face. Let's think about this in terms of physics. When wind blows against your face, something sticks to your face. It doesn't come off. When you're on a roller coaster, you're constantly moving forward with the wind in your face. So the mask is actually stuck to your face a little better. Never felt like it was going to fly off. And I am so glad I got to ride another roller coaster.
And I didn't have a hard time breathing.
No,
I mean,
pretty
honestly, the face mask doesn't bother me. Like I said, what bothers me is the virtual queue situation that you keep staring at your phone. I'm kind of running into the same deal I ran into Wednesday. We can't get on Hagrid's. So the deal with Hagrid's is they're only releasing a limited amount of time slots at a time, and then you have to wait for them to release more. But we don't know how long it takes in between for them to release more time slots. And it's not even just Hagrid. There's several rides that are only virtual queue and you can't book them. So,
well, I mean, we're just gonna keep checking back. The good news is the Mummy is a 10-minute wait and it's right there. So we have about 20 minutes before our virtual queue for Jimmy Fallon starts.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon was easy to get because not a lot of people like that ride. I happen to like it. I think that it's fun.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. The one ride I don't re-ride here is Fast and Furious. One time was enough.
I think we've done it twice. I think we've done that ride twice out of all the times we've come here.
It's weird because I could think of 100 different rides I would have designed for something like that, and this is what they picked, a party bus.
Well, it is what it is. There's plenty of other stuff to do here. There's a lot of other rides to go on. And speaking of which, let's hit the Mummy.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and go for our next ride. So one thing I want to mention too is be very mindful with the app that things change. Like before, the Mummy was a 10-minute wait, and then we went over to the Mummy, and now it's virtual queue only.
Yeah, so I was able to book it. We're gonna go do Jimmy Fallon in a few minutes. Our virtual queue is up in a few. We're gonna go do that, and then we'll hit the Mummy afterwards. But it is kind of strange. You just have to keep checking back over and over. We're in this very same spot. We're about, I would say, 250 to 300 feet away from the Mummy right now. Maybe a little more, maybe like 500 feet away from the Mummy. And in 500 feet of walking, it went from a 10-minute wait to virtual queue only. So that changed instantly, and we just weren't able to just walk right on. That's all right though, it's not a big deal. We're gonna get to do some things today. It's not like we can't book everything. So that's the thing. As long as there's something we can book, I'm fine. All right, so something interesting I just discovered is that you can only have 2 virtual queues booked at the same time. So right now I have Jimmy Fallon for sometime between 10:10 and 10:40, and then I have the Mummy reserved for sometime between 11 and 11:30. I just went to check on Hagrid's to see if I can book anything, and this is what I was met with. It basically says max reservation. So once you have 2 booked, it doesn't even allow you to view another time slot or another ride.
And it's so peculiar too, because it's not like it's a fast pass at Disney. Like, you just can't get onto these lines.
Exactly.
If it requires virtual queue, you're just kind of stuck that you have to book virtual queue.
Right. But that's a little upsetting, is the fact that you can only book 2 at a time, when rides like the Mummy and Hagrid's are virtual queue only. So if you have 2 rides booked that you're like, okay, like for example, Jimmy Fallon, the Mummy, and you want to book Hagrid's, you can't even look to see if it's available to drop one of your other reservations. You have to drop the reservation first, and then you're able to view if it's available.
Oh, so you have to actually like get rid of the whole...
It's not letting me look to see if it's even available for me to drop a different reservation. I mean, for example, if it said 11 o'clock is available for Hagrid's, I would drop the Mummy so we can go do that, because the Mummy is going to be easier to get on. But that's kind of what we're met with right now, is that we just have to kind of wait.
And what's even crazier is there's just nobody here today, and we're still having a hard time booking everything that we want to do.
Yeah, it's all right though. I mean, we're dealing with whatever it is we have to deal with. I'm just excited we can come again. That's the thing. After months of being locked down and parks being closed, I'm just excited that we get to do this again. So I'm really not complaining too much. I just got to ride a roller coaster, which is something I don't necessarily want to say I took for granted before, because I love roller coasters, but you don't realize how much you miss it until you don't have it.
So we're in Gringotts Bank, which I have never seen it like this before. There's no pre-show, and the elevator that you would normally simulate is not running. Yeah, so we're just going to walk right through. Now we're over at the train station, King's Cross, to head over to Islands of Adventure. It's pretty much empty in here. We were not able to ride the Mummy. Unfortunately, when we went during our virtual queue time, the ride was down. So what they suggested to us was to take a screenshot. I don't know if we're gonna go back over to Universal today, but we did do the screenshot. So if we do go back, we can show it to them and try to go ahead and ride it, because it wasn't available during our virtual queue. We don't see a lot of stuff on virtual queue for Islands. We're going to be over there shortly, and we'll see what's going on over there, if things are just not running, or if it's a matter of that you're just getting online instead. You checking the app again?
Yeah, I'm going to check the app right now.
All right, guys, we just got off of the train, and we are over in Hogsmeade, and I have great news to report. Actually, I'll let Adam report it.
So I was able to actually book a time slot to ride Hagrid's.
How were you able to do it?
What I had to do was open the app, select the virtual queue experience, select Hagrid's, and then click virtual queue over and over. I had to click virtual queue and then back, virtual queue, back, virtual queue, back. I did that for about 15 minutes straight without stopping. And finally something popped up. I was able to book 1:30.
Well, hopefully the weather's gonna hold out for us, because I'm excited that we finally were able to book Hagrid. We only got to ride it one other time. So now we're walking around Hogsmeade. We're going to check out what we could do in here. This seems to be the busiest area of the park today. It's not busy in Islands. It doesn't seem too busy when we were over at Universal. But for some reason, people always want to hang out with Harry Potter. So, well, I can't say for some reason. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan too. All right, so I think that we're going to go and we're going to see what rides that we could get on before we get to our virtual queue for Hagrid. And then we're probably going to go and check out the food situation and hopefully have some better luck than I did on Wednesday when I was here. And we'll definitely let you know how that goes. Okay. All right, so we just went and we had lunch at the Three Broomsticks. So just a heads up, they want you to order on the app before you go in there, and then just give them the order number to make things a little bit easier. technically, I guess this is more like a quick service than a sit down, even though you do sit down in there. It was definitely a lot easier to get into here than the situation that I ran into finding food on Wednesday during the pass holder preview. So we were able to get lunch, and I'm excited because it is almost time for us to use our virtual queue for Hagrid's. And we noticed something really interesting while we were sitting in the Three Broomsticks. If you come outside, there is an awesome view of the roller coaster that they are building over in the Jurassic Park area. So you can actually see the progress really well over here for the construction. And this is going to be a pretty big coaster, because as you can see, there's the construction wall, and it still goes over the construction wall over there.
Yeah, you can see that's the top hat over there. That's going to be the big top hat section next to that crane that's in the distance. That's the top hat section there. The track's not there yet.
I think
but
you can get a
this
little
looks
bit
fantastic.
over here too.
Yeah.
We just don't want to get too close to anyone's tables.
No, but this is going to be the bottom of the helix. Yeah, super cool.
So yeah, the food situation was definitely a little bit easier today. They are still doing the staggered seating inside of the restaurant to try to keep everybody safe, but I think they're opened up at a little bit more capacity. If you saw my last video, they had like one table here and then one table way down there. It was a little bit better today. All right, so
how are we looking on time?
It's almost time. It's 1:27.
Let's go over. Let's go ride Hagrid.
Well, guys, that did not work out too well.
No, Hagrid's is down again.
I can't believe it. We finally got a pass to go on there, and it's not running right now. They didn't say why, and as usual, they didn't say how long. They're not sure. So they told us that we'll still be able to get onto it later. They'll still honor the pass.
Well, the way it actually works, so for anybody who runs into the same situation, you have like a half-hour window on your pass, on your virtual queue pass, to use the virtual queue. If you go up to them and the ride is closed, your virtual queue pass will turn into an all-day express pass for one use of one ride. So instead of actually just using it for any ride you want, you can use it for the ride that you were supposed to use it for if that ride comes back up.
Now, just to show y'all, this is what it looks like when you're on the ride when you're on the line to get onto a ride. What they've done, and this is the same over in the parking lot once you get over to the spot where you're going to have your temperature taken, there's actual stickers on the ground to show you where to stand so that you can maintain social distancing. I had said it before in my other video that it's kind of hard in the rest of the park. As you can see over here, people are not really paying attention to if they're social distancing or not. But once you get onto the line area, that is a little bit easier because of the stickers. And I'm not saying that everyone's following it perfect, but they do have markers on the ground when you are in specific areas. We've had pretty good luck today as far as the weather. It looks like it's going to rain, but it hasn't rained on us.
Yeah, it's been all right.
Yeah.
It's a little warm. It is warming up a little bit, but that was expected too. The really good news is that Hagrid's opened. The ride came back up online. We waited 10 minutes to ride it, and then we still had an express pass from the Revenge of the Mummy that we didn't use. So we just came back and got right back in line and rode this again, and it was a walk-on this time, 2 minutes.
I feel like since we rode it in September, it's faster. Like, I don't know if I'm imagining that, but it seemed a lot more fun this time.
I did hear through the grapevine that eventually they were going to speed the ride up faster and faster and add more trains to the track. We actually spoke with a team member a few minutes ago who informed us that they can fit up to 12 trains on that track now, because of the quick change system that's in place by Intamin. There's a track switch that happens during the ride. Intamin's track switch system for this ride is a 5-second reset as opposed to a 35-second reset. That allows them to add more trains to the track. So I think now that they've added more trains, they can run the ride faster. And I think that's what they're doing, because that was pretty exciting. I will say, the first time I rode Hagrid, so I kind of like badmouthed it in a way, and I was like, it wasn't what I expected.
It seems slow.
This was actually really fun. This is a re-rideable ride, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, we just rode it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and for Adam to give up using that to get on the Hulk or something, that says something. So,
Yeah.
All right, chums. That wraps up my second day back at Universal since they reopened. Actually, now they're officially open. The first time I came back was the pass holder preview. And as you can see, my hair has become progressively crazier throughout the day.
Well, we actually got on rides today. We got to do the Incredible Hulk, Dr. Doom. We got to do Hagrid's twice. We did the Rip Ride Rocket. We did Spider-Man. We got to really do some rides today. We did Gringotts. That was fun.
Yeah, not everything was a virtual queue. Some of the stuff you get to walk on, there were not a lot of waits. Some of the lines are a little bit deceiving. Because you're spacing out between people, it looks like it's a much longer wait than it really is. But I didn't find any long waits today. Everything was pretty easy to get onto.
Yeah, almost everything was just a walk on. Pretty simple.
Yeah. Did you feel safe here with?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I think you just kind of have to be mindful of the fact that other people aren't following the guidelines. So if you're very nervous about keeping 6 feet apart from other people, you're gonna spend your day doing this and making sure. Because a lot of time people will just walk right in front of you and stand there. So
yeah, people are not really paying attention with the social distancing, honestly. And there's only so much that Universal could do. I mean, They make the recommendations. They constantly remind you. They have the markers on the ground, but it's up to you to take care of yourself, you know, and to make sure that you're doing what you need to do right now.
Yeah, I felt like we were able to stay safe though doing this.
Yeah, I felt perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do recommend to bring your own hand sanitizer. There were a few hand sanitizer stations staggered throughout the park. Not as many as I think there should be. Like at some of the lockers, it's still touch screen. I think they should put some kind of a hand sanitizer station next to those. Maybe they will. I think that they do give you the hand sanitizer before the rides, but not after. So I definitely recommend bringing something.
I have noticed they have the little hand sanitizer dispensers after the ride. So there isn't somebody there pumping it in your hands like there is when you walk onto the ride. But
I didn't see that after all the rides.
Not after all of them. After most of them, there are though. There is a hand sanitizing dispenser, and you can walk under it and get some hand sanitizer.
Yeah, and as far as the food situation today, it went better than it did the last time I was here. We were able to get in no problem to 3 broomsticks. I definitely recommend downloading the app. You're going to be using the app a lot more than you normally would. And you can store your pass in there, your tickets in there, a credit card in there, so that you can make purchases through the app and have food ready for you if you're doing like a quick service type of restaurant.
Yeah, I think it's really handy. And I think as time goes on, they're going to perfect some of these things that aren't so perfect right now with the app.
I'm hoping over time they lift some of these things.
They will.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at, I mean, this is only the 3rd day the park's been open. So I think they're going to have to work some kinks out. And then as restrictions get lifted, it's going to get even easier, because then they can do away with some of these measures that they've had to take in order for people to be safe.
Well, chums, I'm excited things are opening back up. We had a great day today here at Universal and Islands of Adventure, and we'll see you next time at the parks.